All right, so the robot mower is still on, but we've got some big changes. First of all, the 775 DC motors I was planning to use for the wheels, I realized would be loud. They'd need to be down geared to have enough torque, and the down gearing process would be significant. And if it had um, gear based down gearing, it'd become too loud. If it had pulley based down gearing with belts, it'd be too complex to build that. It'd be unreasonable, I feel. So, unfortunately, I did have to start spending some money. First of all, I bought a brush cutter adapter kit for about $10 on Amazon to give a better fitment to the brush cutter blade. Also, I decided to splurge and buy used hoverboards for the wheels. At this time, I'm still planning to have it be AC powered with a cord because that gives unlimited runtime. You don't have to wear out or use up batteries over time. And I just think it's a great system to do. And you don't have to worry about stopping to recharge in between finishing the job. You'll be able to finish the whole job and save those batteries for, something else. Batteries cost money. I'd rather use it for something else, like my robot or other projects. This does not need batteries. It doesn't need it. Also, I've decided that I probably want this robot lawnmower to be able to do my lawn as well. So I would be able to transfer it to my house or to my rental property. But I'll probably keep it at the rental property. I might build a second one if I end up wanting to have it mow my house all the time. But I'd at least want to train it to mow my house in the event that anything happened to my dad, who currently does the mowing. I'd be able to have it step in and take over that job. What else? So I bought 2 hoverboards that were used for parts, not working, fully working. They had problems like missing charger or whatever, which that doesn't apply to me. The hoverboards can carry an adult who weighs 220 pounds, 7 miles per hour for 6 miles. They advertise it. So they're incredibly strong, brushless wheel hub motors. And that is perfect for a robot lawnmower. Super high torque and energy efficient and just powerful and fast. Perfect. I'm also considering, I bought the second hoverboard to just use like for my kids as a toy or whatever, but after I thought about it more, I'm thinking I might use it on the robot lawnmower as well to have 4-wheel drive. I watched a ton of robot lawnmower videos, and one of the issues people had were front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive mowers getting stuck. And that's the last thing I want. Now, I saw some mowers had like cleats, some had tank treads. I might look into some of those options. I'm not sure if you use tank treads, if you need one motor or not. I'm not sure how tank treads actually work. So I might look into that. But 4-wheel drive would pretty much, as long as you have big enough wheels. See, I want it to be able to even mow in the rain. I want this thing to be really robust and powerful and have it be set to just mow 1 or 2 days a week, rain or shine. That's my preference. So I want cleats on it, on the wheels, like actual football cleats that can dig into the grass and drive it forward even if it's muddy out. I think that's best. I do not want it getting stuck. But maybe if it's a heavy enough mower and it's got deep enough treads, it would not get stuck. So we'll see. I mean, testing will show. So I might still have a bonus scooter if I don't need 4-wheel drive. And that could definitely be used for parts, because that's for around $40 $40 to $45. I guess $45. You get, and that's shipped. You get a pair of wheel hub motors that are very strong, which can be used for robotics or machine making or whatever. They're completely silent, high torque, and you're also getting a huge battery pack, and you're also getting BLDC motor ESCs that can actually drive these motors. Basically, it's got to be just the wheel hub motors alone. For one motor, I imagine it would be like $40 maybe. With the ESC, it'd be like $70 per wheel. So that's $140 right there for the two wheels plus ESC. And then throw in the batteries. Let's say that's another $35. So it's like $120 in parts if you actually build stuff. If you were to buy all those parts. So for $40, that's like 70% off. It's a really good deal, so I had to do it. I'll buy a bunch of them. I'm thinking about it because those batteries I can use in my cordless drill battery packs to replace the batteries with these newer lithium batteries instead of NiCad batteries. So I'd be able to upgrade all my drill battery packs with these batteries, and these batteries are basically free. After the money you're spending is for just the motors and motor controllers, the batteries are pretty much a bonus. So it's just a really good, efficient way to buy parts for robotics. I'm very impressed with it. You can build all kinds of robots with that type of technology. And I even saw brushless or hoverboards being converted to go-karts. You just have a chair on top of the hoverboard and then a front wheel that you can steer, and kids can ride it like a go-kart. So that'd be kind of fun to build that type of stuff for my kids, but I'm not sure if I want to go down that rabbit hole building a ton of stuff for my kids because they've already got a lot of toys and I don't need more projects really. So I'm not sure on that. I got so many projects, but yeah, so that's the update on that. Now, another major change I made to the design I want to show you guys. So let me set that up and show you real quick. Okay, so here's an updated design for it. We've got the four wheels here. We've got the alternator here. This is the alternator output pulley, and we're going to use a serpentine belt to another pulley, a tensioner pulley. We're calling it a tensioner pulley, but that's because that's how we bought it, but it's a grooved pulley that matches the same size as this pulley, and it's got a V-groove 6-rib serpentine belt that will connect it to this pulley, and then attached to this pulley will be the brush cutter blade. This will spin. Okay, so having it out front, it can get into corners, it can get anywhere real tight. Every robot lawnmower I saw leaves like 3 to 4 inches of grass along every edge. It can't mow right up against a house, removing all grass and weeds straight up to the house. Mine will act like a mower / weed whacker in one. So this is basically turning into a mower body that pushes around a weed whacker. Now, here's another advantage. This will articulate swinging back and forth like a windshield wiper blade. So as it drives, it'll have a large sweeping arc, and it will be able to mow like 30 or 40 inches wide tracks by sweeping this back and forth as it's driving. And then when it wants to edge on this side of the mower, closest to us, it would be able to articulate this way and then leave it spinning over here. It just needs to not clip this wheel. So this wheel needs to be tucked back and small enough, and this blade reach out enough to where it's not quite going to touch that wheel. And so the blade would just be out here a little bit more, maybe just flush with the wheel. And the wheel would drive along the house, and this would cut all the grass. So the blade would swing a little further this way. And if it were doing a wall on the far side, it would just swing it. It would swing this, rotating it a little bit that way, and it'd be able to cut flush with the side of the house or whatever structure on that side. This way it doesn't have to use the front face forward and then back up, turn a little bit, and then go forward a little bit, taking forever, it would be able to just cut along its side as it drives parallel to the structure you're trying to edge. We wouldn't want it to have to drive perpendicular like it's trying to parallel park in order to keep bringing this circular blade against some flat surface this way. Okay. Now the next thing is, I looked into other options, but the best and freest option is to use a laptop. So there's going to be a little laptop right here. I don't know if you can see it well. Okay, yeah, you can see right there. I drew a little rectangle from here to here and here to here. That's the laptop mounted right above the alternator, and it's closed. Laptops can operate while the lid is closed, as long as you set it up that way in the settings. So this will be a laptop. A used older laptop is the intention right now. And that will be connected by USB to a webcam, which will be able to see out from underneath the roof. Then I'll have a roof above everything to keep rain off of it, all the electronics. I did not draw the cooling system, but there should be a cooling bladder or billows that sucks in air like a chimney billows, pinches off where it's sucked in, and then pushes it out, forcing it into the laptop and out the vents of the laptop. So the laptop will have fan forced air and on the intake it'll have a large screen area that acts as an air filter. So only filtered ambient air will enter the laptop, not relying on the laptop's fans alone, but relying on a actual bladder that fills and empties itself like a chimney billows in order to force high volumes of air strongly into this. Also, to articulate this front blade, there will have to be a motor that handles that. But this alternator is centered over the wheelbase in order to keep the weight centralized, and then this blade is out front so it can be able to swing and access more area. If you just had the blade right here, the distance from the outer blade to the wheels would be the place where you cannot cut grass. And so you would always have to follow up with a weed whacker for every mowing job. This robot lawnmower acts as a weed whacker and mower in one, so you do not have to do any follow-up work at all. It does all weed whacking and all mowing because it's built that way to do everything. So there's no follow-up work. This is a one-man full landscaping team. That's the intention. I think anything shy of that is poor design and foolish. I'm shocked that people don't do this. So I'm solving those issues. Now, I could use one of these scooter wheel hub motors instead of the alternator, but I'm not sure because I have another job I can use for the alternator. I definitely want to use it, but maybe this job is not ideal because this would be a lot heavier than a brushless wheel hub motor, which would give still plenty of torque, I believe. But this thing would be bomb-proof and just probably higher torque than even those. And really high torque would be ideal for this because this blade, I want to be able to cut through small trees up to like 4 inches in diameter. Just chipping away, not too fast. It would just be able to go right through anything. So for that reason, I think it probably is better just to stick with the alternator. So I probably will do that. Plus the added weight from the alternator will weigh down all these wheels, giving better grip, I think, better grip on the ground for better traction. So I think I will stick with the alternator, actually. And it's built to be really tough inside a car and handle getting a little bit wet and stuff like that. So that's also a bonus about it. Plus, it's a resourceful thing to do, and people can get alternators cheap. And so, yeah, I think it's a good project to use the alternator for. Now, the other purpose of the roof, which is kind of just like an umbrella design right now, I might make it kind of like a golf cart roof. I'm not sure. I might eventually even put walls on it. I'm not sure. I don't want it to be too tall. It's looking tall in this picture, but I mean, maybe it will be tall like that. I'm not sure. But the main purpose of the roof is to keep the sun off the laptop, to keep the laptop from overheating, and also to keep some of the rain, if it's raining out when this thing is operating, some of the rain off the electronics. But the electronics will be weather treated. You know, everything taped off and sealed as well as I can. But, like, for example, the webcam probably is not designed to be waterproof. So, and I'm not planning to buy a special webcam or anything. So, it would be ideal to just have this cover on top. And so I will be doing that. Probably a hard shell cover. So that's that. This thing should be a tank. And like I said, I am open to using actual tank treads because some of the tank robotic lawnmowers with tank treads, they said were the best at not getting stuck, and they could even go over curbs and stuff like that easily, never getting stuck on anything. And so I like that concept a lot. So I may do that, but I need to learn how that technology works. I don't know anything about tank treads really, but that would be ideal if it were really like impossible for anything to stop this. It would just go over anything. That would be ideal. Like even a brick, it could just drive right over it. That would be very cool to me. Okay, so the other update I wanted to give is I did go ahead and buy a 12-inch cutter blade for the brush cutter blade. I figured that would cover a larger area, so that could be nice. And that was $9, I think. The serpentine belt I bought for $7 on eBay. And it's going to give a 10-inch distance center to center from the two pulleys. And then I had to buy the little tensioner pulley. That was, I think, $9. Like I said, I bought two scooter hoverboard things. Two hoverboards, but one of them I may not use for this. So I'm just going to say the price of the one is $45. The other one is about $42, and I might use it for another project or just keep it for parts. I just thought the parts are so necessary for me for so many projects that it's a steal as far as price for those types of quality parts for all my projects, so I'll just go ahead and buy it. The laptop's free. The webcam, I might upgrade my personal webcam and then use the older one for this maybe. Or I might just scrounge up one in my closet. I think I might have an extra webcam or two. I might. So I'll be able to find something for that. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy. It just needs to be able to basic object detection and landmark locate. All the code for my robot is going to be from scratch, C++. The laptop will run Windows 7 just like my robots. And I'll do my own computer vision from scratch, so no libraries or anything. And the intention would be for this thing to run like twice a week. I did not draw the AC cord releaser mechanism, but I guess that would be like right here. It'd wind up underneath the roof, and it'd release it automatically. Or it could even go around the alternator. Like the cord could wrap around here. Possibly. And release that way. Because it looks like there's some space here and here. So we'll see on that. And I may back out of that and just have it be fully operated by battery. But we'll see. Because I now have the batteries that came with the scooter motors, and I might just be able to use that since it's basically free for the parts I had to buy anyways, and it might be enough for this. So might be prudent just to go ahead and stick with that. Just use like a 42-volt battery system for everything using the 42-volt batteries, and that will power the motors plus the alternator on 42 volts. That would be okay. So that's a possibility I might go with, since I got the batteries free. Yeah, I might go with that. That'd simplify, I think, at this point. Because the battery winder and releaser mechanism would be a little bit complicated. But we'll see. I mean, because it's also complicated to set up the docking port. You'd have to have a docking and a battery charging station then. And that's adding complication for an automated thing. Whereas if it's always just hard tethered, you don't have to worry about that. And so there are advantages, and certain things made easier by just having it wrap up an AC cord around itself. But it also depends on the complexity of the yard and stuff like that. But that could all be solved in code. And that'd be trivial compared to the code I already have to do for this. So, I don't know. I'm not positive on this. I'll have to think about it more. But that's where I'm at so far. Got a lot of things I ordered that are on the way.